Welcome back. Today we have a musical word. We'll talk about a few European events. Then we have a song and a quote. So grab your favorite cuppa, settle in, and let's have a look. Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for November 18th. November 18th is the 322nd day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 323rd in leap years, with 43 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is ragtime. Ragtime is a noun that in music refers to rhythm characterized by strong syncopation in the melody, with a regularly accented accompaniment, or music having a ragtime rhythm. The term ragtime comes from the term ragged time, which was a description of syncopated music. First known use of the word ragtime is in the 1890s. Ragtime. Today's word ragtime was requested by YouTube viewer at Jeannie Arnold 6726. Thanks, Jeannie. And if you'd like to learn more about ragtime, I found a great video on a channel called Piano TV at Piano TV Net, and I'll include a link to a video on that channel called A Brief History of Ragtime Music. That'll be in the description for you. Sometime between 318 and 322, Roman Emperor Constantine I ordered a church to be built over the site believed to be the tomb of St. Peter. On November 18th, then, in the year 326, the old St. Peter's Basilica was consecrated by Pope Sylvester I. It would take some 40 or so years to complete that project, and it's now referred to as Old St. Peter's Basilica, since the construction of the current basilica, which was built in the 1500s, in order to differentiate the two. On November 18th, in the year 401, the Visigoths, led by King Alaric I, crossed the Alps to invade northern Italy. Fierce bunch, those Visigoths. On November 18th, in the year 1421, oh my, a seawall at the Zuiderzee Dike in the Netherlands broke. It was a big storm out in the ocean, just broke that dike. 72 villages were flooded as a result of this, and about 10,000 people perished. It's come to be known as the St. Elizabeth Flood because it happened around the time of the feast day of St. Elizabeth, which is right around this time of year. St. Elizabeth herself is an interesting historical character. She was a Hungarian princess. She got married at the age of 14 and was widowed 6 years later. It says she sent her children away and regained her dowry, which will have been no small matter anyway, and her brother-in-law apparently was in charge of her husband's estate, and this brother-in-law was, by all accounts, a real stinker. Anyway, she got the dowry back and used the money to build a hospital where she herself personally tended to sick people that came there. All this she did before the age of 24, because that's when she died, at the age of 24. I was not able to find out what took her, but St. Elizabeth, because of her own travails, is the patron saint of hospitals, nurses, bakers, brides, homeless people, lace makers, widows, and a few other things that I didn't write down. This terrible flood in the Netherlands happened around the time of her feast day, as I've already mentioned, and so it is named after her, St. Elizabeth, the St. Elizabeth Flood. It is Johnny Mercer's birthday. We talked about him last year, but my goodness, he wrote so many songs. Sang some too. I see about 7 albums that he recorded and over 70 songs recorded by himself or others. So today let's talk about the song Fools Rush In. The music was composed by Rube Bloom, initially titled Shangri-La. Rube played the tune for some music publishers who felt it needed some lyrics, so they called in Johnny Mercer, who expanded on the quote, "Fools rush in where angels fear to tread," which is from a poem by Alexander Pope called An Essay on Criticism, written in 1711. From this poem, by the way, we also get such great lines as "To err is human, to forgive divine," "A little learning is a dangerous thing," which is often misquoted as "a little knowledge is a dangerous thing." It's actually "a little learning is a dangerous thing." And of course, the line that eventually became part of today's song, "Fools rush in where angels fear to tread." So, first we had the tune, which Rube Bloom wrote in 1936. Then Johnny Mercer was brought in to write lyrics in 1940. I think they saw that they might have a hit on their hands because the song was recorded by Tony Martin, Glenn Miller with Ray Eberle, and Tommy Dorsey with Frank Sinatra. And all of these were released at the end of March of 1940. There were 2 more releases of Fools Rush In by other artists before the end of 1940, and 12 more releases before Ricky Nelson released his version in 1963, becoming the highest charting single version of the song. Fools Rush In has continued to be recorded and released by various artists since then, most recently in 2010. Fools Rush In where angels fear to tread, and I'll include the link to the version by Ricky Nelson. How about that? Inspired by Alexander Pope's essay on criticism, I thought a quote by him should be interesting, and sure enough, I found several. So let's go with this one, also from an essay on criticism, and it is, "True ease in writing comes from art, not chance." Alexander Pope. Alrighty, y'all take care. Be good to each other. I'll see you next time. So this terrible feast happened in... this terrible feast. I've been to some of those. And a hearty and grateful shout out to these lovely folks who've bought me a coffee. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to add your name to that list, there is a link in the description where you too can buy me a coffee. All righty. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlists in the description. You can find me on BitChute, Facebook, Odyssey, Rumble, YouTube, and X, as well as on a blog page called No Really. No Really. No Really. Consider following my Day in History page on Facebook if you're on Facebook. I also have a Patreon account now, or you can buy me a coffee. All those links are in the description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.